Hi, and welcome to the NEC Family Storytime series. My name is Helene Gallagher, and I'm an educational consultant with NEC. Today, we're going to talk about wonderful weather. I'd like to start with a little video by PBS Learning Media that'll give us an overview of what weather's all about. So let's take a look.
Weather is a word that describes the conditions of the atmosphere, or the way the air outside is acting. What's the weather acting like in your town today? Notice the temperature of the air. Is it warm or cold? Or is it super hot or freezing? A thermometer is a tool that measures temperature in degrees. Notice how fast the air outside is moving, whether there's a strong wind, a nice breeze, or no movement at all. One way to check for wind is to watch a flag. Take a look at the sky. Is the sun shining? Are there clouds in the sky? Is anything falling from the sky? When water falls from the sky, whether it's rain or hail or snow, it's called precipitation. Precipitation is an important part of the water cycle. Weather changes from season to season as planet Earth travels around the sun because the Earth sits at a tilt. During the winter months, we're tilted away from the sun, getting less heat. During the summer months, we're tilted towards the sun, and we get more heat. Weather can have a huge impact on your day, from what you wear to the activities you'll enjoy, and even the transportation you'll use. The weather in my town today is pretty cold. The thermometer reads about 20 degrees. Water freezes at 32 degrees, so it's definitely freezing. The flag isn't moving very much, so the wind today is light. And it is precipitating for sure. Just look at all of this snow. I've got my boots, I've got my hat and my gloves, and I've got my sled.
All right, so that was a little video that told us what weather's about. Let's take a little deeper look about weather now. So what is the weather? Weather is what's happening outside at any given moment, and it can change every day. It can even change from morning to afternoon. There are all different types of weather. These pictures show just a few of them. It can be sunny, or rainy, or cloudy, or foggy, or windy, or snowy. Lots of different types of weather. So we're going to take a look at each one of these a little bit more. So one type of weather is sunny. And the sun is a star. It's a yellow, round, hot ball. It releases energy that gives us warmth and light on Earth, which is the planet that we live on. So how can we experience the sun? Well, maybe you could go outside on a sunny day and see the sun in the sky or feel the warmth on your body. But if you can't get outside, maybe you could go to the window and see the light outside or see the sun itself. You can feel the warmth on the window by touching it. If it's not a sunny day, but you still want to experience what it might feel like to be in the sun, you could use a warm heating pad or a heating lamp to get the feel of the sun. Another type of weather is cloudy. Clouds are found up in the sky. They are light and fluffy, usually white, but sometimes gray, and they can be big or small. Clouds are made up of little drops of water or ice crystals. And you could have a different amount of clouds in the sky on different days. So you can have a partly cloudy day with just a few clouds, or a very cloudy day with a dark sky and lots of clouds. Or you could have no clouds at all. How can we experience clouds? Well, we can go outside and take a look. Sometimes you can see the clouds up in the sky. It can be fun to think about the shapes that clouds make. Sometimes people like to pretend they see a car or an ice cream cone or another type of shape in the clouds. That can be a fun game to play. But if you're not outside, you could touch soft, light materials like cotton balls or foam shaving cream to experience what a cloud might be like. You could also do an experiment and make a cloud in a bottle. And if you have the Ultimate Kid's Guide to the Weather book that some of you may have received in the mail along with this activity, they have an experiment on page 31 where you can make a cloud in the bottle. Rainy is another type of weather. And rain is lots of small drops of water. It's wet and it can feel cool or warm. So we talked about the clouds with the drops of water all together in the air. Well, when those tiny drops of water get big enough to fall to the ground, that's when you get rain. And you could have a small amount of rain, which is like a drizzle. You could have a shower or a downpour, which is heavy, heavy rain coming down. So how can we experience rain? Well, you can go outside on a rainy day, or you could take a misting bottle and spray it, or someone can help you spray it on your hand or your face so you can get a sense of what that water feels like coming down. You could also play with a watering can, or you can listen to rain sound effects. Snowy is another type of weather. Snow is cold. Snowflakes are small, frozen, and icy. When the air in the clouds is very cold, instead of raindrops, we get ice crystals forming and they fall to the ground as snow. No two snowflakes are alike. They can be pointy or more rounded. They all look different. If you have a small amount of snow, it's called a flurry, with just a few flakes falling down from the sky. Or you could have a blizzard with lots and lots of snow coming down at the same time. To experience the snow, you could go outside on a snowy day, or you could bring the snow to you. Put some snow in a dishpan and bring it inside to play. You could even put tools in there. You could use the same ones that you might use on a beach, sand toys. Those can be fun to play with snow as well. Foggy is another type of weather. Fog is white or gray, and it feels cool on your skin. Fog is tiny water droplets that float in the air. It's like a cloud that's close to the ground. We often see fog when the temperature drops overnight. So it starts out warm and then it's cold in the morning, and that's when you can see fog. Fog can be light with just a little bit, or it can be very thick. When you have thick fog, it's hard to see in front of you outside. How can we experience fog? Well, if it's a foggy day, and you're lucky enough, you can go outside to walk through it. If you're inside, you can put on a humidifier, which makes a kind of a mist, like a cloud inside, and you can safely put your hand over it and feel the cool air and moisture. Or maybe you've seen a fog machine at a birthday party or on Halloween. You could also do an experiment where you make fog in a jar. You can put about, um, you can, sorry, excuse me, you can fill a jar with 1/3 full of hot water, swirl the water around, and then pour it out. Then add a few drops of cold water, put a small plate with ice cubes over the top, and watch the fog form. Another type of weather is windy. Wind feels like air pushing against your skin. It can be cool or warm. Wind is moving air. The air around us is always moving, sometimes fast and sometimes slow. When it's moving slowly, wind is called a breeze. Strong wind is called gust or a gale. How can we experience the wind? You can go outside on a windy day and feel the wind on your face. Or you can have a fan indoors and have it blow on your face or your arms and feel the cool, gentle breeze. Or somebody can blow gently on your face or arms. You can get the feel of a wind. You can also listen to sound effects. Remember the flag in the video we showed at the beginning? The flag was blowing in the wind. So sometimes we can tell it's windy by looking outside and seeing the, the leaves or the tree branches or flags blowing in the wind. We also use temperature to describe the weather. We can read a thermometer, which is a tool that tells us about the temperature. Here are some pictures, symbols of thermometers that show a hot temperature of 110 degrees Fahrenheit, a warm temperature of 70 degrees Fahrenheit, a cool temperature of 30 degrees Fahrenheit, and a cold temperature of 0 degrees Fahrenheit. If you don't have a thermometer, you can stay inside and touch the window to see how hot or cold it feels. You could also step outside to feel the air. Is it warm? Is it cold? Weather is important because it affects what we wear and what we do. We want to be comfortable and stay safe in all types of weather. So on a hot, sunny day, we usually want to stay cool and be protected from the sun. So we might wear things like sandals or flip-flops and a sun hat. Some of the things we might do are go swimming or eat a nice, cool popsicle. Families at home, you can make connections to what your child wears and does in different types of weather. You could put some of these objects in a bin to start to teach about the concept of a hot, sunny day. You might include things like sunglasses and sunscreen because we wear those to protect ourselves too. You can also build concepts about size, textures by describing things as smooth or bumpy. We can talk about colors and shapes. And we want to think about how things are the same and how they're different. So, for example, everyone in the family may have sandals, yet they all can be different. So same type of shoes, but some are bigger, some are smaller, some have 2 straps, some have 1. Fun to look at all the differences. On a cool, rainy day, you might use an umbrella or wear a raincoat to stay dry. You might also have rain boots, or maybe you like to wear a poncho. Some fun things to do on a rainy day. Some people like to jump in the puddles and splash, splash, splash. Other people might want to stay inside and play a game, like bingo. Maybe your family likes to read or watch a movie, do a craft, or bake some cookies on a rainy day. So we can make those connections to the things that you and your family like to do. On a cold, snowy day, you might wear a snow hat or gloves to go outside so you can stay dry and warm. You might also wear a warm coat or a scarf, winter boots, snow pants. If you use a wheelchair, when you go outside, it can be important to put a really warm blanket over the chair. Keep you warm while you're outside. You can also talk about how mittens are different from gloves. How many fingers do each have? What different sizes do you have in your family? And then things to do in the winter. Some people might like to make a snowman or go skiing. Other people might prefer to stay inside and stay warm, maybe drink some hot cocoa or do a puzzle. So what is the weather like today? Well, we can tell by looking, listening, and touching. When we look, what do we see? Is there any fog, clouds, snow? When we listen, what do we hear? Is there rain falling? Is the wind blowing? Do we hear thunder rumbling? And we can use touch. When you go outside, you might feel the rain or snow or wind or sun on your skin. If you're indoors, you might touch the window to see if it feels hot or cold. It might even be a little bit icy on a cold winter morning. You have received a weather wheel craft in the mail to go along with this story time activity. So here's a picture of it. And I wanted to show you. I made one myself. It was really fun. I took all the little parts. They give you the directions right in there. Took everything and glued it on. It was so fun. And so now I can use this tool and you can make it and use it at home to think about what the weather is like today and every day if you'd like to. You can turn your wheel. On the top, it says today's weather is, and for me, I have it on snowy. It's very cold and snowy here where I am in northern Vermont. It was -3 degrees Fahrenheit this morning. Oh, was it cold? You better believe I put on my hat and my scarf. Here's my scarf here. I put on my gloves and my winter coat and my boots, everything to go outside so I would stay dry and warm. Okay. But another day, it might be sunny and warm. It could be rainy and stormy. It could be cloudy. It could be windy. So you can have fun making this craft and then using it to talk about the weather each day. You could even use it to then make a chart about the weather or make a graph. Here are some tools that we use to measure the weather. A thermometer, we talked about a little bit already, tells us the temperature outside. A windsock tells you the direction the wind is blowing and how strong it is. A rain gauge collects rain as it falls from the sky, and then you can measure how much rain fell. Most rain gauges measure the water in millimeters. A snow gauge is like a large stick that goes in the ground, and it measures the amount of snowfall in inches. So these tools and others would also be fun to have in a bin at home to talk about tools used to measure weather. With your kit at home, you should also have a snow measuring stick craft. That's like the snow gauge we just took a look at. So I have mine here. Might be a little tricky to see, but I'll try to show you. Made my little snowman. You'll see it has numbers on it. Number 1 is hidden in the snow, but the numbers go from 1 all the way to 9, and they measure inches. So you can take your stick, put it outside in the snow, and measure how many inches of snow you have. Along with the 2 crafts, we had 2 books to go with this story time. The first is the black and white Weather and Seasons book. That one talks about types of weather, temperature, and the seasons. The second book is the Ultimate Kid's Guide to Weather. In this one, you can learn about natural hazards like tornadoes, hurricanes, sleet, hail, blizzards. You can even learn about climate change. It has a lot of fun facts, quizzes, and experiments like we talked about. If you wanted to make the cloud in the jar, that's in here. So that's if you want to learn a little bit more about the weather. We also have some more information and activities. These are links to resources because we know we want to use repetition with variety when teaching about concepts, especially weather. It's a little bit of an abstract concept. So we want to bring the tools and materials to the child so they can experience them. So here you'll see we have links to things like videos in ASL that talk about the weather. There's a PBS Kids calendar of activities that all have to do with seasons and the weather. A variety of books that are CVI friendly. Science experiments. And here's one more page with some resources from Paths to Literacy about the weather. Some more books. Unite for Literacy and Monarch Reader both have lots of books about the weather and seasons and the clothing that you wear in the weather and seasons and things that you do in the weather and seasons that are narrated. So you can choose to read it with your child, or you can play the narration and have it read to you. And then National Geographic Kids had lots and lots of resources. It had pictures and videos and articles and activities about the weather. So lots of good things to explore. And that's all for today. Thank you so much. You'll see I put a picture of a winter scene here because this is the type of weather I'm having now in Vermont. It's cold and snowy. And I like this picture because you can see some clouds in the sky and you can also see the sun. It's really pretty. Thank you so much for joining us today. See you next time. Bye-bye.